There is new reaction this morning to Iran's warning that it will, quote, take a strong step away from the 2015 Iran nuclear deal if Europe doesn't come up with new terms before the deadline Tehran has set for the end of this week. Joining us now is the retired Lieutenant Colonel Danny Davis. He is a senior fellow and military expert at Defense Priorities. Hello to you. Happy Labor Day.
Hey, Blake, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Doing well. What do you make of what Iran is saying now?
Yeah, you know, the two most important objectives for the United States in the Middle East policy is, one, to minimize any anti-American terrorism, and number two, to minimize the chance of any war. And so far, I think President Trump is getting some bad advice, I think, from some of his advisors, because this so-called maximum pressure campaign is moving us in the opposite direction of that.
But you can make the argument, though, that it's working, right? Because the sanctions have been so hard hitting against Iran that it's gotten to this point where they're kind of asking Europe, hey, let's do something or we're breaking.
No, I'd say the opposite is true, because it's pushing Iran into more provocative actions outwardly, and it's moving them towards a nuclear breakout, which is what we want to avoid. Now, they have opened up, our allies have opened up a diplomatic opportunity with Iran to be able to talk about some of these things. And I think that President Trump has a really good opening here to make good on his promise to renegotiate a new deal. But to talk about that, you first have to lift sanctions to even allow Iran back into the negotiating table, not the least of which is on their foreign minister right now. So we've got to lift that so that we can even get into negotiations. Do
you think this is about nuclear breakout, though, or Iran wanting to sell its oil? Because this seems like Iran has been shut out
certainly
from the
there's no
world
question.
market.
But if our maximum pressure is pushing them in the direction that we want to avoid, then that means we need to have new tactics. And right now, that's what we're accomplishing.
What new tactics?
Well, right now, our pressure is pushing them in the direction of expanding their nuclear program. We want to curtail that and move it back. And so we have to do something different, because pressure is right now only causing them to do more provocative things and raising the chances of war, and that is not in our interest.
You think the chance of war is raised at this point?
Oh, without a question.
So?
I mean, we've seen these tankers get hit in the Gulf. We've had these drones shot down. Any one of these could spark an unintentional series of events which could lead to war, and none of these need to happen, because we can tamp this down and with negotiations and diplomatic activities, and that's what our allies want. That's what we want.
Real quickly, do you think President Trump and Hassan Rouhani speak?
He said that he has that opening, and I certainly hope he takes that, because that's a necessary prerequisite to get to a resolution.
Got to leave it there, Lieutenant Colonel Danny Davis. Thank you for coming in on this Monday, Labor Day. Appreciate it.
Thanks to you. Appreciate it.